Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This week's guide will be focusing on the best maps for Ramattra and where I feel he'll shine in when it comes to team compositions and more when it comes to competitive play in Overwatch 2. All that being said, if you want to know more about Ramattra in terms of gameplay guides, Junker Queen guides, and more, then be sure to like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. And let's get straight into the swing of things with our first map, and that is Circle Royale. So Circle Royale is a fantastic map for Ramattra in a lot of ways. Now, Sigma and Ramattra play very similarly because of their characteristics and how they play. They're both very defensive in terms of how they want to manage the match. They want the enemy to come to them. They don't want to be feeding into the enemy, or they don't want to be diving like, of course, like a Diva or a Winston or a Doomfist. These characters, Ramattra respectively, is all about playing that slow, tactical, and methodical approach, playing your angles, and making sure that you are the one that's pretty much controlling the pace of the match. And the way you control it is by playing at your comfort zone. That is playing from range. And if the enemy gets too close, that is where you want to use Pummel. So here, for example, on Circuit Royale, this is a great LOS or a line of sight for those who are unfamiliar with the term. This is a great line of sight because for one, you have angles on this, you have angles here, you've got angles over here, and of course you've got the full angle coming up from the hill right here. So this is a fantastic area for Ramattra as it covers a lot of different line of sights, and depending on who's on your team, if you have an Ashe, for example, she can cover this door while you cover 2 and 3, and then let's say on the top right, you can see Mercy over there. There's a Pharah there as well, so Pharah can control whatever action is coming from the bottom part of the spawn area. So this is something to be mindful of as you're playing with Ramattra, and let's get into the swing of things. So you'll see here, I'm just waiting patiently. I'm not committing. You don't have to commit here. It's just best to wait patiently, see what the enemy wants to do, and again, let them come to you. Let them take the bait as opposed to you being the bait. So here I fell off. That was my mistake. I wanted to actually use my shield, and I ended up falling down there. So if you do make mistakes like that, just try and play your corners effectively. In this case here, we have the wall. Play your wall to your advantage. This is why it's here to begin with. So if you are being poked at, if you are being, on the aggressive side of things, so the enemy is trying to poke you, just hide behind the wall for a while, then reposition and go right back to your normal scheduled programming. So again, I'm playing my walls here. I go back up. I play high ground. Now I used my E there. I wanted to use my shield again. So I use my E here, or rather my shield. And again, as you can see, it's all about just playing the poking game. I throw my E down to slow them down, because really what you want to do is get that momentum in your favor, right? The best way to get momentum for Ramattra is to just play it slow. Play it slow, poke them, throw your E down, right? Slow them down, and that gives you a chance to get your shots down. So as you can see right here, this Sigma player was really out of position. And fortunately for him, my Pharah and Ashe weren't really, focusing him too much. If we all focused him, he would have been dead. But in this case, he got away. I had to focus on this soldier right here, right? So as I said before, if the enemy gets too close and he gets impatient, because my back was obviously towards the Sigma, right? So I did not even really know that the soldier would be coming up here, but he did. But as I said before, this is where Sigma can shine. If the enemy gets too impatient and too aggressive, like this soldier here, this is where you punish. I fall down, I go for the back line, I knock out soldier, and this is where I get stunned here, but it's okay. I had a mercy pocket here, and I use my E just to cover my angle and go right back up to this position. So to make things short, to not go too far into detail, in this section of Circle Royale, this is where Ramattra can really, really shine and waste a lot of time. Because in defense, time is your best friend, and you want to be whittling away as much as possible. It is a battle of attrition, and so as I mentioned before, just to reiterate, use your angles, use your line of sight to cover as much as you can. This is where you really want to be utilizing your poking range. And again, if the enemy gets too close and personal, as that soldier did, that's when you can punch him in the face and call it a day. So let's move on to the next part, which is the other checkpoint, And this checkpoint is very, very similar, where you again want to be utilizing the high ground to your advantage. So we'll fast forward here. You can see that this angle, once again, I'm just going to erase that thing at the top there. So they're in overtime, right? So they're panicking. Now they actually get to this checkpoint, which is totally fine. But this, again, they panicked. They saw me use my pummel to push them away, and the Roadhog used the Q to basically push us away, but this is fine. So he used that, of course, to try and push us off the payload to, reset the time, which is totally fine. No big deal here. It's all about, again, playing slow, playing patiently. Now, for me personally, this was somewhat of a mistake. I played way too close. I could have easily been knocked out here if this was a better player. So be mindful not to get too close to Roadhog. This Roadhog got really aggressive though. So I had to use my pummel here and push him away. And I'm being pocketed here. Luckily for me, I did not die there. So I back away. I realize there's just too much going on. So again, when you know that there's too much happening, just back away. Don't be afraid to back off. So I get hooked there. But once again, Ash was covering the angles pretty well. Bob came out. So right here, again, I'm trying to get as much value as possible here. This Ash is out of position like crazy. And there you go. So right there, once again, playing to your angles is really important. And just before everything ends, they try to get really, really antsy here. And so, once again, I see them at the bottom. I try my best to play because this Cassidy was out of position. So sometimes you have to kind of commit and drop down because it's like, hey, if this person's out of position, punish them. That's really where I feel Ramattra shines, is he wants to punish people out of position, right? So Lucio here uses his Q for whatever reason, I'm not too sure why. I guess he thought that, we're going to threaten him, but they got punished for that significantly. So all their Qs have been used, right? So Roadhog's Q is gone, Lucio's Q is gone. So one big tip to recognize is whenever you are in a situation like that, always keep track of what the enemy has already used. So their Q is gone for Lucio and Roadhog. Now I have my Q saved up. So the next time they try to push us, it's a wrap, right? There's nothing they can do because they can't do much now when they have no options left. So here, this is the final showdown here. And this is where I pop my Q because I know they have no way of escaping. There's no way. So they're panicking. I'm literally pushing them off the payload, which is perfect. So I'm taking damage here, but Mercy's pocketing me. And all I have to do here is back him away. So I lost here. Mercy tried to go for the res, but it's okay because at this point, again, we've wasted so much valuable time. This is perfect for us. So all that being said, I'm pretty sure you get the gist of how to kind of play the map. I don't want to go too far into analysis. If you want to see more though, however, be sure to let me know in the comments section if you want to see like a full Circle Royale, guide on how to play the map effectively. But for the time being, let's shift to the next map that I think will be good for Ramattra, and that will be Blizzard World.
So Blizzard World is another map that I feel is a very substantial one for Ramattra and his gameplay, most notably again playing on defense. Now you can opt to play for the offensive side when you are attacking the enemy team for Blizzard World, but I do feel like in the grand scheme of things, definitely Ramattra would be better suited on a defensive role since there are a lot of angles that Ramattra can play, and I want to just kind of point these out right now. Now of course we're playing on defensive, but I want to point out some really notable areas to play if you were to play, for example, on a more aggressive map, or at least a play style. So right here, you have your angle up here. There's a little walkway at the top that you can play. So as enemies are coming down towards this little choke point here, this little corner, you can play the top part of this map and really dish out a lot of poking damage just by standing on top here, gaining high ground, and just pelting your nanonites at the enemy down below. This area here too, of course, is also fantastic since you can just wall them out. You can place your wall here and therefore prevent the enemy from, once again, pushing you in. And if they get too close, you can always pummel them back out. One also thing to note is that while there are numerous angles to play around, and that can sometimes be a difficult task for someone like Ramattra who doesn't have that many escape options, like I said, it's best to play him on the high ground as opposed to low ground as much, since you are getting more of an advantage with your team. And if need be, you can drop down over here to the other side, or as I said, you can maybe just put your wall in the front end here and block enemies off from trying to pass you. And then this area, this whole entire spot here, this is just kind of free ground. This is where you have to really play a little bit more carefully and neutral. But most importantly, as you are progressing in the stage of Blizzard World, just want to note this area here is really important to take note of. So all that being said, we're going to jump into things. You'll see as we progress through to go to the front end of the map, you'll see here that there's another choke point. And this choke point here is also a fantastic one for Ramattra, since again, he can just place his wall right here, and he can play the defensive game, keeping people away. And again, if they try to push you, you can pummel them back and just scare them off. So in this case, once again, anytime you have really narrow choke points like this, characters like Ramattra can really, really benefit. And so we're going here into the more defensive stance, as mentioned earlier. So right here, I want to just note there are a lot of different angles in this particular point of the defensive map layout. So what I do here is I go to the left, and the reason why I do this is because I want the high ground on top of this little building. So you'll note that this building has like a ride. So anytime you're in Blizzard World, just look for the ride to the left. That building is where you want to be because it gives you the high ground necessary to basically create pressure for the opponent as they're coming in to attack you. So right here, you can see that there's a choke point, right? There's a little choke point right here that you can really, again, take advantage of. You can put a wall right here. You can use your E right here as well, and just, again, create a lot of distraction, a lot of prevention. And that's exactly what you want to do. You don't want the enemy to come too close to you. Now, if the enemy tries to get in aggressively, they can come through here. But remember, you're on the high ground. You have the angle to initiate. You can shoot them from here. If they try to come from, let's say, this angle here, you have your angle as well to shoot them. So high ground is effective for Ramattra. You have a lot of spatial awareness here, and this is really important. So we're going to see this in just a few moments. I try my best to not really move. I play the same type of play style as I would on, let's say, Circuit Royale. I'm just waiting patiently. I'm not really overcommitting here. I'm just letting my opponents know, or letting my teammates know, that the enemy is about to come here. And this is important as Ramattra. You want to kind of let people know on your team what your game plan is. You don't want to just be all sporadic. You want to kind of give players a hint as to how you want to play the game. So here I draw, once again, I draw my shield out. I see that it's going to be a Rhine versus Ramattra. So this is really all about, again, patience. So I don't run away here. I just reposition. I go back up onto the main top of the building. I see Hanzo right next to me, which is totally fine. So right there, look at this. I almost completely destroyed this Soldier 76 just by playing on the high ground and him playing out of position. This Reinhardt here is, again, he made his way through, which is totally fine. He's playing aggressively, and I keep an eye on him. So I see Mercy right there. She's out of position as well. So I put my E there to prevent her from getting close to Reinhardt. And I'm trying to focus my attention here on the Soldier. And right here, you've got the Reinhardt. Reinhardt, I'm not really too concerned about because he can't touch me. I'm more concerned about the Mercy and the Soldier because I don't want Mercy to be healing. So I'm continuously trying my best to, once again, make myself less hittable. Now I got hit there, so I had to back away, play behind the haystack here. And then, of course, Moira comes to my rescue, which is fantastic. And then right there, I see Kiriko. She's one. I missed my shots. Unfortunately, that would have been a good kill. But right here, I realized they came into their base. So this is where I had to take advantage. So I got Mercy out of the way. And Reinhardt's almost dead here. And so, like I said, so you want to be playing those choke points effectively. This Kiriko, again, out of position here. So I'm just trying my best to, again, clear the space and then reset neutral. Throw the E out, slow them down so they can't really move. And I try to go after Soldier here because he's being annoying. But once again, the whole point of that pummel wasn't necessarily to kill. It was more like, okay, if you want to come in, deal with these punches. Take these hands a little bit. So I back away, put my shield down. Mercy's on the left, Soldier's on the right. More is right next to me. So again, we're playing this angle really well. Now I could actually have played the pillars a lot better. My peeking could have been a lot better there. Now I didn't realize he swapped over to Diva. I didn't really hear when he swapped, which was really weird. But either way, I'm just pummeling her back. So I'm not really too afraid of Diva here. I think in this matchup, I feel Ramattra can take this match, no problem. So right here, I pop my Q, and I said, you know what, enough is enough. You guys are getting too aggressive, so I just go for the kills. And knock everyone out here. And we just reset. So just, to kind of make things very short here in this section, you can see that the whole game plan is play your choke points well, position yourself correctly on high ground where you have enough of a sight on the enemy, and therefore you can play your angles correctly. No need to really play too aggressively. Only really play aggressively, like in this case, when they're trying to push through the choke point, you pop your Q or you pop your pummel and you go for the win. So that's pretty much it for Blizzard World. Unfortunately, for the whole map, it sucks because quick play is always so random, so I couldn't really get a good attack variant to show you guys. But I'm sure you get the idea when it comes to playing defense on this map. So let's move on to the next map, which will be Busan. Surprisingly enough, Busan, as both attack and defense, being a control map, is actually quite fun and very good for Ramattra, as it really does fit his kit a lot, and because of the map being somewhat smaller than other maps, it gives you a chance to really utilize your Q more effectively, and of course your pummel. So, looking at this footage here in Busan, you can see that the game plan for me, when I'm actually trying to play more aggressively, if need be, is just try my best to find enough space to play that. Here, I can see that they have a Pharah, so I'm trying to poke from afar just to scare her off of the high ground. So I throw my E down. So it's going to be a Ramattra mirror here. So again, I'm trying to play mid-range. You can see that I'm not playing up close and personal. I'm really trying my best to play, again, at a mid-range as comfortable. I saw that, one of my teammates got the kill on the Cassidy. So I'm moving back down here. I'm going to try my best to get people off of the point. Pharah here is really weak, so I go to Pummel. I see Moira here. So the enemy goes into their Pummel form. So I back away immediately. I'm not trying to take any sort of punches here. But the moment that I know that his cooldown is starting to wear off, that's when I go in for the kills here. So I get the kill. Throw my E down. I slow down Torbjorn here. And this is where I can just, again, take advantage of him. Knock his turret out because he's just panicked there. So this is where things get really juicy because Ramattra can really, again, shine right here. This is the magic spot. This is the sweet zone where you want to be just playing at your safe range, throw down your E, throw down your shield, and this choke point being so narrow as it is, you can just, again, prevent the enemy from doing anything. Now, if they want to get smart and try to go the other direction, like go to the right-hand side, you can do the same thing, as again, the choke point's quite narrow. They're going to have to force their way through, which again is right in Ramattra's little game plan. You want them to come to you at all times. Even when you're on attack, you want the enemy to try and come to you. Let them get greedy and overcommit. And when they do, that's when you can just scare them off. So right here, again, I just go for the kills. I push them away. That's all I want to do. I'm not trying to overcommit. I got Sombra here because Sombra is really annoying. So right here again, we're defending this situation. So this is once we control the point, Ramattra shines here. Because once you have finished your role of being the attacker and you've successfully secured the point, again, just secure choke points. Make sure you have plenty of open room for you to play your game. And now, again, we're just constantly pressuring the enemy, not letting them play their game. And that's exactly what we want. Torbjorn can't do much here because he's limited. He has to be close, and his turret has to be placed appropriately. He can't do much here. So I place my shield up. The turret's right there. I knock it out first because it's really annoying. Throw my E down again. Sombra is also, again, really annoying. But again, she's not really a threat. So yeah, as I say here, this choke point here is really, really important because, again, if the enemy tries to come here, you can just put your shield right here. If you want to come through the stairwell, the same can be said there as well. It's really all about just knowing where the enemy wants to come from and just how to effectively protect yourself at all times. Right here, again, you can put a window here if need be. So you see how there's just so many different benefits for Ramattra on Busan. High ground as well is the same thing. Like if you know the enemy is coming from the top, you can just put a wall up there as well, and then you can just poke them from afar, which is all he wants to do. So because of that, there's again plenty of angles you can play in a safe way. So let's say the tables have turned, right, and I'm the one having to regain control of this particular area. You can just play high ground and just poke from the top, and once you find a good poking advantage, then you can jump down, go pop your Q or pop your pummel, and just scare them off and get your footing back. So here, again, I'm just making sure not to allow any enemies to come in here. Put the wall up. So I go into my Q. I immediately pop my Q here because I noticed that they were trying to be aggressive. And right there, I go back. And because these guys are really slow, they have no escape options, I'm just completely nullifying everything. Don't give them a chance to breathe. So do you see how that defensive mechanism worked? How, as I said before so many times, defense is really the best offense for Ramattra. They try to be really aggressive. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to save my Q for when you get too greedy. And that's exactly what happened. They got really greedy. They overcommitted. And now they're about to die. Or they died. They all got slammed. So see right here, another great area to protect your teammates from. Right here, this is again another screen that you can put up, another shield area. You can throw your E down here as well. So again, plenty of areas where if you're playing on the defensive side, Ramattra can just easily negate entry at all times. And so they tried, again, as I said before, they tried to get smart and they tried to come through a different angle, and I covered that angle and made sure not to let them in at all. It's all about preventing the enemy from playing their game. And now my teammates prompted me to come back. So I'm trying my best to protect myself. Someone try to hack me. Totally fine here. So I'm just using my block here. So I got the hack. I unfortunately died here, which is totally fine. So I think they won this. They won this this set here, which is totally fine. You're not going to win every single bout, and that's acceptable. You don't have to really worry too much. I'll do a little bit of a fast forward here. So again, we are 99-25. So we have a pretty substantial advantage here. So this is where I use my pummel once again. I try my best to just get him off of me. I'm pressuring this Ramattra just to get him off. He gets scared. He uses all of his materials, which is good. All resources are gone. It pushes them back. So I'm going back to cap. I see Sombra here again. So unfortunately, I died. So I'm trying my best to play as, again, here I had to be a little bit more aggressive to kind of keep them off of the point. Unfortunately, I did not, allow that to happen. I lost the bout there by myself. But we're going to fast forward again. So I get hacked. So you can see 99-69 here. So we're getting pretty tight. But I'm really paying attention to my ult. I want my ult chart to be ready because this is where things are going to get juicy. You can see everyone's clustered, right? This is where you want to be utilizing your pummel, right? So right here, I just pummel everybody. Everyone just gets knocked here. Sombra's gone and everyone's gone. So now we get the recontest and we won. So right there, overtime happens. And again, don't allow them to come back and play their game. So it's pretty straightforward, right? Like Busan, I think, is really good just for the fact that, once again, you can really play a very simple and straightforward game. You don't have to really go too crazy. It's really all about really slowly picking off the enemies, allowing them to bait themselves. And once they bait themselves into a trap, then that's when, you can take advantage of things and create spacing for your team. So this was the other side of the map, which unfortunately I think I had a little bit of image for that, but I can't remember. No, this is Queen Street. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I can show a little bit of this. This is kind of similar. I don't want to spend too much time because it's almost been like 10 minutes now, but I just want to show you areas where, again, on this part of the map, you can take advantage of some areas. Like, for example, like, again, you have a little spot here at the top, just right where the control point is. You can put your shield up here and knock enemies off or at least protect yourself. You've got angles on this side over here. You've got angles over here to block off with your screen. This area is a little bit more difficult just because there's so many different ways for the enemy to kind of sneak up and attack you. So you have to be really mindful on this part of the map where you have different angles, and so you have to be a little bit more cognizant, more self-aware. So having your DPS play different angles for you can also be of great benefit. So again, I'm just trying my best to play my position, right? I put the shield on the left hand side while I play on the right. I throw down my E here. I look at my cooldowns. You can see that I have 10 seconds to spare. So right here, I'm not playing too overly aggressive. They're on the point, so I push them off the point, and then we recontest and we get it back. Junkrat there, not a problem. Just put my shield up. So hopefully this has given you somewhat of a gist of like how to play these maps. I'm going to do more details. I'm going to go into more details in the second part for this guide. So if you want to see more of these best map analysis guides or just more guides in general in the future, be sure to subscribe and like and leave your comments down below as to what you want to see. And for that, I'm going to call it at this. I'm going to continue this video. I'll make a part 2 and we'll focus next on things like Eichenwald and of course Junkertown. But until then, this has been a long one. So have a good one, folks. I'll see you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care and peace out.